Welcome back to COINSX History US, the channel where everyday coins turn into hidden history and real value. Most people walk past valuable coins every single day without realizing it. Some were minted by mistake, some were produced in extremely low numbers, and others became rare simply because time forgot them. Today, we're revealing coins that look ordinary, but are worth far more than their face value. Coins that collectors are hunting for right now. So before you spend your change or ignore that old coin, watch closely. Because one small coin could be worth a surprising fortune.
Have you ever held a small copper coin in your hand and wondered how a piece of metal this tiny could carry over 3 centuries of British monetary evolution and a legacy that ties directly to the crown, the economy, and the people of the United Kingdom? Well, today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in modern coinage, the story of the 2p coin from 2006 a year that marked a transition between traditional minting practices and modern technological precision. Welcome to the world where design, history, politics, and economy all come together in the palm of your hand. The 2006 2p coin may look ordinary, but its history is a mirror reflecting the very pulse of British society. To understand the true depth of the 2006 2p coin, we need to go back to the origin of the decimalization of British currency in 1971, when the United Kingdom made one of the most dramatic monetary shifts in its history, replacing the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence with a new decimal-based structure. The 2p coin was introduced as part of this revolution, minted initially in bronze and featuring the now iconic badge of the Prince of Wales designed by Christopher Ironside. This design symbolized the uniting of modern Britain with its royal heritage. The words new pence were struck on the obverse until 1981, after which the inscription changed simply to 2p as the new decimal system became fully accepted by the public. Fast forward to 2006, this was a fascinating year in the life of British coinage, a year defined by both continuity and preparation for change. The Royal Mint was still producing coins under the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, which had been introduced in 1998. This portrait was known for its realism and modern elegance, portraying the Queen with a dignified yet natural presence. The 2006 issue of the 2p coin was struck in large quantities for circulation, but it was also significant because it marked one of the final years that the coin would be made entirely of bronze before the composition was permanently altered. For decades, bronze had been the soul of the 2p coin, a mixture of copper, tin, and zinc that gave the coin its warm reddish tone. But by the early 2000s, the rising cost of copper made it economically unfeasible for the Royal Mint to continue using solid bronze for everyday coinage. This led to a monumental decision in 1992 when the Royal Mint switched to copper-plated steel, but the 2006 mintage became a special chapter because while most were made of copper-plated steel, some were still produced from the old bronze blanks that remained in the mint stock. These rare bronze strikes have since become of great interest to collectors as they represent the last breath of an era, the production process. For the 2006 2p coin was an impressive combination of precision engineering and craftsmanship. The Royal Mint, located in Llantrisant, South Wales, was equipped with advanced coining presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute. Yet every detail from the lettering to the crown emblem had to be inspected for perfection. The obverse carried the 4th definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, her profile surrounded by the inscription Elizabeth These DG Reg FD, followed by the date, 2006. These abbreviations, meaning by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith, carried centuries of royal tradition. The reverse continued to display the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet above the German motto Ich dien, meaning, I serve, a phrase that connects the coin to the heritage of the heir apparent to the British throne. The context of 2006 also gives this coin greater historical meaning. Britain was entering the digital era. Cashless transactions were beginning to emerge, yet coins like the 2p remained a fundamental part of everyday life. Vending machines, parking meters, and small shop purchases all relied heavily on them. The Royal Mint continued producing millions of 2p coins annually to meet circulation demand, while also maintaining the symbolic continuity of British coinage in a rapidly changing world. The 2006 2p also fits within a broader narrative of British coin design evolution. By this year, the Royal Mint was already preparing for the complete redesign of the reverse sides of all coins, which would arrive in 2008 featuring the shield of the royal arms split across different denominations. Thus, 2006 stands at the edge of that transformation the last few years. Before a historic design overhaul, collectors often view it as the closing chapter of the Christopher Ironside design era. Beyond its design and production details, the economic story of the coin is equally compelling. The value of copper had nearly doubled since the early 1990s, and by 2006, each 2p coin made from pure bronze was worth more in metal than its face value. The Royal Mint's transition to copper-plated steel not only reduced costs, but also ensured that coins could continue to be produced efficiently without fear of hoarding or melting. The change in composition was invisible to the casual user, but to numismatists, it marked a clear boundary between traditional and modern coin manufacturing. The 2006 2p was minted in the hundreds of millions, but the precise mintage figures vary. Slightly due to production at different times within the year, this mass production was necessary to replace worn coins and maintain currency in circulation. Each piece carried not only monetary worth, but also a silent story of craftsmanship, national identity, and economic strategy in motion. As we explore deeper, we see how the 2p coin, even in 2006, reflected Britain's broader cultural and political environment. Queen Elizabeth II had already become the longest reigning monarch in modern British history. Her image on every coin served as a unifying emblem across generations, while the coin itself moved daily through millions of hands, from school children to shopkeepers, from commuters to collectors. Every scratch, every dent, every shine on a 2006 2p coin tells part of the British story. By the time the design change came in 2008, the 2006 issue had become one of the last classic 2p coins of the 20th century style. It represented the end of an era before the modernization of British coinage that reflected a new national identity. With a shared shield design, the 2006 2p coin thus serves as both a bridge and a time capsule. It bridges the old Bronze Age and the new Steel Age, the old royal imagery and the forthcoming unified heraldic design. It captures the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint at its peak. Before digital and industrial upgrades reshaped every process, today collectors often seek out 2006 2p coins with special interest, particularly those that show distinct minting variations or unusual metal compositions. Some have been found with deeper luster, suggesting earlier bronze blanks, while others show faint die errors or double strikes, making them prized finds among numismatists in mint condition. These coins may still appear ordinary, but their historical weight is immense when you hold one. You're holding a coin that has witnessed the last years of a minting tradition that began in 1971, and which continues to echo in every modern British coin minted since. Alright, listen up, coin lovers, because what you are about to discover will completely change the way you look at a simple 2p coin. Today we are going deep into the world of British currency to explore the mysterious and fascinating journey of the 2001 2p coin, a coin that many people overlook every single day, but holds within it a powerful story of craftsmanship, design, history, and hidden value. This is not just a coin, this is a piece of living British legacy, and by the time we are done with this story, you will never see it the same way again. Welcome to the history of the 2001 2p coin. Now, let's begin this incredible journey back to the heart of the United Kingdom at the turn of the 21st century, when the Royal Mint was operating at full force, producing millions of coins every year, yet each denomination carried its own unique story and purpose. The 2p coin, first introduced in 1971 as part of decimalization, was meant to represent a perfect balance between the smaller 1p coin and the larger 5p coin. It was crafted to fit comfortably in the hands of every British citizen and became a symbol of everyday transactions. In the early days, the coin was made from bronze, consisting of 97% copper, 1.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc, giving it that rich reddish-brown shine that collectors still admire. But by 1992, due to the rising cost of copper and changing metal economics, the Royal Mint made a historic change, switching the composition of the 2p coin to copper-plated steel, and that change would shape the character of the coins produced in later years, including the one we focus on today. The 2001 2-pence coin. The year 2001 was an interesting one for British currency, as it was a time of subtle transition and modernization within the Royal Mint. It was the early digital age, but the mint still relied on centuries-old traditions of metalwork, die engraving, and precise coin striking. Located in Llantrisant, South Wales, the Royal Mint had established itself as one of the most technologically advanced coin producers in the world, and the 2001 2-pence coin was struck with absolute precision under the design originally. Created by Christopher Ironside, a man whose artistic vision gave the coin its iconic look on the obverse side of the coin, you find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This was the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen to appear on British coinage, showing her mature and regal features with the inscription Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.D. 2, pence 2001. Elegantly encircling her image, the reverse side carries the famous Badge of the Prince of Wales, a design that dates back centuries, featuring a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet with the motto Ich Dien, which means I serve. This emblem ties the coin to the deep royal heritage of Britain, symbolizing loyalty, duty, and service to the crown. The simplicity of the 2-pence coin hides this deep meaning and cultural connection, making it far more than mere change in your pocket. When you look at the coin closely, you will notice the fine detail of the feathers, the perfect circular lettering, and the soft reflective field that makes each piece a work of art on its own. The 2001 version is especially notable because it was struck in high volumes for circulation, but also minted in special proof sets for collectors. Those proof sets were made with mirror-like finishes and sharper designs, sealed in cases to preserve their perfection for generations. As we dive deeper into the production process, each coin begins as a blank metal disc called a planchet. These blanks are cut from large sheets of copper-plated steel before being polished and fed into high-speed presses, where dies strike them with immense pressure, exceeding 60 tons per square inch, creating that distinct crisp image on both sides of the coin. The Royal Mint quality control process in 2001 ensured that only perfectly struck coins were released into circulation. But even with strict standards, errors still occasionally slipped through, giving birth to the world of coin errors that collectors love so much in the case of the 2001 2-pence coin. There are a few known varieties that spark the attention of numismatists, including off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, and rare color variations due to improper plating. These unique coins can fetch higher values depending on their condition and rarity. When examining the economic context, the early 2000s were a period when cash still ruled the daily life of British citizens, vending machines, parking meters, and public transport all heavily relied on coins, making the 2-pence denomination an essential piece of the economy. It was small enough to represent affordability, yet valuable enough to make a difference in everyday trade. The coin circulated widely across the United Kingdom and beyond, even finding its way into British overseas territories and Commonwealth nations as part of coin collections or international exchanges. Over time, as inflation shifted and digital payments began to rise, the importance of small change started to decline, but the 2-pence coin retained a sentimental and historical value as part of British culture. If we trace its historical significance back through the decades, we see how this coin evolved not only in metal composition, but also as a reflection of national identity. The switch from bronze to copper-plated steel symbolized economic adaptation, while the consistent use of the Prince of Wales badge represented the continuity of royal tradition through generations. Of design changes, the 2001 issue stands as a bridge between the classic coinage of the late 20th century and the modern era leading up to the redesign in 2008, when the reverse of the 2-pence coin became part of the Royal Shield series for collectors. The value of a 2001 2-pence coin depends heavily on condition and rarity. Circulated pieces usually hold face value, but uncirculated and proof coins are more desirable, often stored in official mint sets or presented in brilliant, uncirculated condition. These coins can reach higher market prices, especially if perfectly preserved with no scratches or toning. Some proof coins struck with polished dies and specially treated planchets show a mirror-like surface and frosted details that make them highly collectible beyond monetary value. The story of this coin is about craftsmanship, heritage, and design integrity. It tells us about the British monarchy, about the transition in metal usage, and about the pride of a nation that still values the art of coin minting. Every edge of the 2001 2-pence coin carries the mark of human skill combined with advanced technology, and every coin in circulation connects millions of people to a shared history. When you hold this coin, you are holding a small piece of 2001 Britain, a year filled with anticipation for the new millennium technological advancement and global change.
Close your eyes and imagine holding a small copper coin that has passed through millions of hands, a coin that jingled in school pockets, rested in factory lunch tins, and paid for newspapers, sweets, and bus rides across Britain. This is the 2-pence coin of 1981, a year that sits quietly between revolution and tradition, a year when the United Kingdom was reshaping itself socially, economically, and culturally. And this single humble coin became a silent witness to it all. Today, we are not just talking about a coin, we are opening a time capsule forged in copper-plated steel, carrying the weight of history, identity, and everyday life. The 1981 2-pence coin belongs to a story that begins long before the year stamped on its face, reaching back to the great decimalization of British currency in 1971, when the nation said goodbye to shillings and pence of the old system and embraced a modern decimal future. The 2-pence coin was born from that transformation, designed to be practical, affordable, and instantly recognizable. It was meant for the people, for daily use, not for collectors or museums, and that is exactly why it matters so much. Because coins that circulate widely absorb history in a way commemorative pieces never can. By 1981, Britain was under intense change. Margaret Thatcher was reshaping the economy. Inflation and unemployment were part of daily conversation. Industries were struggling, and communities were adapting. And through all of this, the 2-pence coin remained a constant, steady presence, passed from hand to hand without question, its familiar weight and size reassuring in uncertain times. The design itself tells a powerful story. On one side, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a symbol of continuity, stability, and monarchy evolving through decades. Her portrait in 1981 represented not just a ruler, but a nation holding on to its identity amid rapid change. On the reverse, the iconic Prince of Wales feathers, a design deeply rooted in British heraldry, symbolizing tradition, duty, and legacy. This was not random artwork. It was carefully chosen to connect modern Britain with centuries of royal history, reminding every citizen that even as society changed, its foundations endured. The metal composition of the 1981 2-pence coin is itself a marker of history. Earlier 2-pence coins were struck in solid bronze, but by the early 1980s, rising metal costs forced the Royal Mint to adapt, and this shift toward copper-plated steel reflects a broader economic reality: cost-cutting, efficiency, and modernization. This small change in composition mirrors the larger economic pressures of the era and makes the 1981 issue part of a turning point in British coinage, when even the smallest denominations had to evolve to survive. Millions of these coins were minted not because they were rare, but because they were needed in daily life. They bought bread, milk, newspapers, and sweets. They were given as change in corner shops and dropped into charity boxes and parking meters, and that everyday use is exactly what gives them historical weight. Every scratch, nick, and worn edge tells a story of movement, of hands, of moments, lived and forgotten, yet preserved in metal for collectors. Today, the 1981 2-pence coin offers a fascinating blend of commonality and curiosity. While most examples are not rare in circulated condition, pristine uncirculated coins carry a different kind of appeal, especially those preserved in original mint state, free from the wear of commerce. Some variations spark deeper interest, such as differences in strike quality, color, tone, and edge wear, and even small anomalies can turn an ordinary coin into a conversation piece. The value is not just monetary, it is educational, emotional, and historical. It connects collectors to a specific year, specific moment in British life, and as time moves forward, coins like the 1981 2-pence slowly disappear from circulation, replaced by newer designs, digital payments, and cashless transactions, and that disappearance gives them new meaning. What was once ignored becomes nostalgic. What was once common becomes a reminder of how life used to feel. when money had weight, sound, and texture. When value was something you could hold between your fingers, this coin represents the last decades of widespread cash use before technology began to change everything, and that makes it incredibly important for future generations to understand. So, when you look at the 1981 2 pence coin, do not see it as just small change, see it as a survivor of economic pressure, a product of royal tradition, a tool of daily life, and a silent storyteller of Britain in the early 1980s. This is why we study coins. This is why history lives not only in books but in pockets and purses and drawers around the world. And this is why the 1981 2 pence coin deserves a deep, detailed exploration. Because within its simple copper surface lies a story big enough to fill. Ours, a story of people, power, economy, and identity waiting to be told.